Hello, I'm Father Norm Douglas, Executive Director of Heart to Heart Communications. Welcome to this edition of Spirit at Work, a program in which we interview people about their lives, what matters to them, what their core values are, and especially how they connect their spirituality with their daily work. Here with me is the co-founder of Heart to Heart. He's an attorney, and I like to call him Larry the Lawyer, Larry Vuillemin.
Hello. And I know you may think that a lawyer and a priest talking about spirituality in the workplace might be the beginning of a good joke. But years ago, Norm and I got together and explored the question, how do you practically connect faith, values, ethics with the work that you do, with everyday life? We'll be right back with our guest to explore that further.
Welcome to this segment of Spirit at Work. Today our guest is Rita Madick, who has an unusual profession right now. She does absolutely nothing. That's probably not really true, and we know that you've done lots of stuff and still are, but welcome here, Rita, to our show.
Should I say thank you, Father Norm? I'm not sure if I should say thank you or not for that lovely introduction, but thank you. Thank you.
I know we tease you about doing nothing, but you've done lots of stuff through the years, and tell us a little bit about, especially with the focus on our program today about being positive and resilient. What are some of the things you've done that you've worked through and become positive and resilient through?
Well, first of all, lots of changes the last few years. If you're asking me first what I've done,
Yes.
In this community, gosh, tons of volunteer work, of course, over the years, lots of boards, been involved with a lot of things. Work-wise, from the Housing Authority to some small nonprofits, the Beacon Journal for 18 years. It's the best job in the whole world. Very proud about that. Taught before that. Left the Beacon and worked for a short time with a group out of Cleveland that worked with the Knight Foundation in the city of Akron doing the wireless project. And then left that to take care of Mom, and here we are today.
Yeah. Say more when you said take care of Mom, so folks kind of know what's happened there in your personal life.
Yeah, that's probably the largest transition, and the largest, certainly unplanned. Nobody plans to leave work. We all know it's there. It's certainly not a unique story, but 2 years ago now, my mom at 90 years old, who'd been driving around and living independently and just an amazing woman, hit the wall. And she needed care, and for 5 months I was able to do it and still work. And then we had her in home hospice, and I have 3 siblings, but I was the one that I was most able to be able to quit work and take care of her pretty much full time. So that's what we did. And the 4 of us, it took care of her 24/7 with hospice support. And, you know, that was a big change, major change.
Most significant change in your life? Without that sounding stupid, how would you describe that?
Recently, Larry?
Yeah, with your mom.
Oh, wow. Most significant, the first thing that comes to mind is just even from your introduction, is that all of a sudden I was just Rita. I didn't have a title. I wasn't community relations. I didn't work for the Beacon. I didn't have a title. And that was really very different. I mean, I'm very proud to be a daughter and a wife. I've got an awesome husband, you guys know. I'm proud of all those things. But I was used to shaking hands and giving out a business card and having a work title. And that was big. The transition of, you know, I call myself an orphan now. And we laugh that we only have 9 commandments. Our parents are gone, so I don't have to worry about honor thy father and mother anymore. That was huge. The caretaking role was amazing. It was humbling, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done, and absolutely the most significant job I've ever done. The 11 months with Mom in the hospice program. So it was all good, but nothing that I'd planned on.
Was there any sense in which it was at times like an emotional roller coaster where, yeah, you felt pretty positive and you love your mom and ready to give her to God, but on the other hand, hey, this is draining,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to watch somebody I love go downhill?
If you don't count every single day, that never happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, every day. There were days when I would go into Mom's room and, you know, she loved it. We'd crank on oldies music, and you know, I'd usually dance in to change her whatever things needed changing, or feeding or whatever. And we'd dance and laugh, and then it would hit me, and I'd run into the kitchen and just stop, and I'd just have to say, okay, and I would talk myself back into, you know, a good place. And I did a lot of, you know, a lot of little dadisms. You make the sign of the cross and you just breathe. And then go back in there and pretend everything's great. And it was, but it was intense.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there was a lot of coaching. I learned a lot about how to, how you can control the level of positiveness in your daily existence. It just, you can do it.
There's a measure there that you have some influence over.
You know what, I think, and one of the things reason I'm good at it is because I think most people like to control their world. I learned a long time ago, the more important something is, the less control you have over it. Yeah. You can't control a lot of things, but you absolutely 100% can control what you think and feel. You can. And since it's the only thing I can control, by God, I'm going to control it. Yeah. And I've learned how to do that, and it's one of the best things about, I attribute some of it to being older, so I'll say I'm glad I'm older now. I didn't know how to do it younger. And it's great being able to choose happiness, choose being positive. Yeah. And you work at it, like you work at, you know, running, or how many push-ups do you want to do, or whatever. But it's, for me, it's critical. And it's a good thing. So,
how do you go about choosing to be positive and upbeat, as you just said, when your heart's breaking too, you know, as you're attending to Mom and just everyone around her also who's suffering with her somewhat?
Oh, yeah. It was, you know, another dadism kept playing in. If you don't want to cry at funerals, don't love anybody. And what I do from that, the whole past year, was you have to sort of, I say it, slap myself upside the head. Why is my heart breaking? Why am I upset? And the why is because of a whole list of amazing pluses. You're never going to be sad if you haven't had anything to be, you know, that you've lost or that you're grieving for. So we chose, in talking with Mom that whole year, chose to talk about all the great things. And I'm not going to miss her if she wasn't wonderful. No one's going to miss, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West. But so, yeah, we focused a lot on the positive. And the other thing, and because it was a hospice situation, it's probably easier than maybe your day-to-day life. But even day-to-day, any of us could walk out and get hit by a bus, so it probably applies. But for me, it was easier to keep remembering there's no do-overs. I can never, if in fact, and it was a fact, that this was Mom's last experience, if it wasn't positive, if I didn't go into it every day, boogieing with her and being silly and talking about her old loves and how she's going to, just all the things she wanted to talk about, and cracking up over soap operas and just doing the things she wanted, playing Parcheesi, lots of Parcheesi. But I couldn't do it again. This was a moment. It wasn't my life. It was a moment in our lives that I just wanted desperately to make it right, to do this right, because everything else I've ever done, you know, if I don't do it right this time, if I slag a little bit, the next time I'll do better. Whether it was working with employees or doing a project, and you know, I've always done pretty darn well in life. I pride myself in that, but I don't think ever did I want to be as good as I was for Mom that year. And because the end point was so final, and it was so obvious, and no do-overs. And so I kept saying to myself, you can do this. It's a moment. You know, it's not your whole life. Just be there for this moment. And
yeah, and I want to ask you about that. Applying that, being in the moment, not only in that obvious situation, but just in everyday, ordinary life when nothing big is hitting at people. Comment on that. Is that something that you now take with you more, you always had, and what's the value and how do you stay in the moment?
Always have. No, I've heard about it for a long time like everyone has, and I didn't really get it. And now I would say it's, you know, a constant tool. I really strive for it, and I love it when the light goes on and you are in the moment. And what I learned with the experience with Mom, the moments or the days or the times when I was having a hard time, it's because I was wishing I was back at work, or thinking about, and especially for the while when I was still working too, or should I be home, or should I be there, or what I could be doing, or what I'd rather be doing, or everything else that's falling apart because all I'm doing is this. If you force yourself, no, don't go to any of those places. Being right here, right now is so cool. This isn't bad. What I'm doing is messing, my head is going to all these other silly places, and it's messing up this moment. And so, okay, you're in the moment. I'm here with this amazing lady. This is not hard work, Rita. You're sitting here with your mom. You're playing Parcheesi. Buck it up, kid. She probably read to you the same book 5,000 times when you were a kid. Now you're playing your 16th game of Parcheesi today because she's on a roll and she doesn't want to quit while she's winning. So we're just going to enjoy this. Just play Parcheesi. You know, so it's a practiced, it really is practice, and it made me gain a lot of respect for any, I call it Eastern thought, and it's probably more than that, where people really do the yoga, the meditation, where we have control of our mind and thinking. Being in the moment. Let's not worry about anything else. I do it now with, you know, our grandkids. You know, a 2-year-old can be exhausting, or there's other things you want to do, but you know what? How cool. Let's just sit here and play blocks. Let's sit here with the dollhouse again and sort of breathe into it. And I didn't know it younger. It's another reason I'm glad I'm not younger, I guess, because I know this stuff. But so yeah, it was nothing you planned for, but you learned how to do it better, and lots of support. So it wasn't, you know, wasn't a one-man show, but it was a good experience.
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you know which moment to enter into? That's about the best way I can ask it. Do I want to enter into the moment with my grandchild who's demanding to play blocks, or do I want to enter into this moment of Parcheesi with Mom? You know, I guess it's a balance question, or the priorities. How did you work through that during the time?
You know, sometimes once you're there, any moment, I don't care whether you're stuck in traffic. When you're stuck in traffic, matter of fact, this is one of the places where I started practicing this. Years ago, I recognized that I am an impatient driver. I've got a heavy foot. Red lights sometimes are there just to irritate me. I know that has nothing to do with public safety. They're there to irritate me. But somebody told me years ago, red light, stop, say a prayer. Oh, okay. And you can be in the moment at a red light. And basically, again, it's stopping the thinking that you want to be anyplace else. This red light, okay, even if you just breathe, you know, you learn through exercising. All of us have had at least some experience with learning how to do it right. We realize we're holding our breath so often. And when you're running around, if a red light irritates you enough, you're probably not breathing right. And so you stop at that red light, you do a few deep breaths. Maybe if you don't want to say a prayer, you think about something positive. You just use it to stop. And then say, yay, I got to stop for a second today. And you can't then go around complaining, I didn't get to stop all day. Well, yeah, you did, and you didn't take advantage of it. So that's the kind of stuff. I know it sounds so corny, but I try to practice that, and I try. I've gotten pretty good at red lights. but I have to think about it.
Yeah.
There are still some days when, and it's not my fault, some days I know they are there just to irritate me. So.
Well, hey, thank you. Speaking about being in the moment, we have to wrap this up, but I think just that focus that you gave us, that consciousness of what we can do. Thanks for being in these moments with us, and Larry and I will be back in a moment to have a final reflection. Hi, I'm Father Norm Douglas.
And I'm Larry Vuillemin. We founded Heart to Heart Communications to strengthen the connections between people's inner spirit, ethical values, and daily work. We believe that this focus upon the inner development of individuals is a necessary foundation for enhancing workplace relationships, purpose, ethics, wellness, and productivity.
Heart to Heart Communications offers values-based leadership development programs that exist to guide and inspire employees, especially leaders who want to make a difference. The unique curriculum is grounded in the belief that there's a strong connection between employee personal and spiritual development and the vitality and success of every business.
You may not know who we are, but you do know who you are and what you believe in, and how you feel about the importance of living out your values in a vital work environment.
Let us come into your company and show you the benefits of a more productive and creative environment. Work can become more exciting, more purposeful, and more fulfilling when employees are growing individually and together.
Consider the idea of a 60 to 90-minute program on renewing the purpose and spirit of your relationships at work. Call us, email us, get in touch with us. We'd be happy to connect with you.
Welcome back to our closing segment in which Larry and I offer a few reflections on what our guest shared with us. Larry, go ahead.
I was thinking as Rita was talking of the number of people that you and I speak to, you know, businessmen and women and professional men and women who are going through different types of transition, whether it's retirement or underemployment or what Rita was talking about too. So many of us attending to aging parents, and you know, oftentimes how grief expresses itself. And I remember something that a grief counselor once told me when I was talking to her about that. And she said, you know, Larry, grief really, when it's all said and done, are those conflicting feelings that we experience when we're going through familiar or changes in familiar patterns of behavior. You know, it arouses a lot of different feelings in us, and I think Rita was speaking to us. And, you know, consistent with the theme of this show, Spirit at Work, I gathered from her, you know, if we can free ourselves from regret and concern about the past and worry and anxiety about the future and really enter into the moment, we are allowing that Spirit to work with us in the moment. We are inviting divine providence into the moment. You know, and it kind of makes things a little clearer for us. How am I feeling? What am I doing? You know, because we can make choices in those moments and not be overwhelmed by the anxiety or the future of what's going on or the past as we experience. And I was thinking of that.
Hey, very good, and reminds us that even our experience of God is in the moment. You know, we can't, any love relationship, it's always in the moment and being conscious of that. And I know another definition that I've used, maybe used here before, faith is the security to be insecure even in the moment. And with that, we need to close this moment. God bless you.